Welcome to today's deep dive into two of the most influential figures in football history, Lionel Messi and Neymar Jr. While both are synonymous with the beautiful game, their paths, styles, and legacies offer a fascinating study in contrast and synergy. Messi, often cited as the greatest of all time, represents the pinnacle of efficiency and spatial intelligence. Neymar, the heir to the Brazilian Jenga style, brings an unparalleled flair and technical audacity to the pitch. This lesson isn't just about who scored more goals. It's an analytical journey through their career trajectories, tactical roles, and the mathematical consistency that defines elite performance. We will explore how these two South American giants transitioned from being teammates in the legendary MSN trio at Barcelona to becoming rivals and teammates once again at PSG. To understand their impact, we must look beyond the highlight reels and examine the raw data, the goals, the assists, and the creative gravity they exert on defenders. By the end of this session, you will have a comprehensive understanding of why these two players have dominated the global football conversation for over a decade. Whether it's Messi's clinical left foot or Neymar's rhythmic dribbling, both athletes have redefined what it means to be a modern forward. Let's begin by setting the stage for their legendary rivalry and partnership, examining the fundamental metrics that define their greatness. We will use statistical modeling to evaluate their efficiency and look at how their presence on the pitch changes the mathematical probability of a team's victory. This is a story of friendship, competition, and the relentless pursuit of perfection in the world's most popular sport. When we talk about Messi and Neymar, the first metric everyone looks at is the goal count. Lionel Messi's career is a masterclass in sustained high-volume scoring. Mathematically, Messi's goal-to-game ratio has hovered near 0.8 for over a decade, a feat that is statistically improbable for most professional athletes. On the other hand, Neymar's scoring record, particularly for the Brazilian national team, is historic. He recently surpassed Pelé as Brazil's all-time top scorer, a milestone that solidifies his legend. However, their scoring profiles differ. Messi often relies on late-arriving runs and precise finishes from the edge of the box, whereas Neymar is more likely to score through individual brilliance, taking on multiple defenders before finding the net. To truly compare them, we look at the strike rate, calculated as goals divided by matches. If we analyze their peak seasons, Messi's strike rate often exceeds 1, meaning he averages more than 1 goal per game over a 50-game sample. Neymar's strength lies in his versatility. He is just as likely to provide a goal as he is to score one. We must also consider the conversion rate, which measures how many shots it takes to produce a goal. This is defined by goals divided by shots times 100. Messi typically maintains a higher conversion rate due to his shot selection, whereas Neymar takes more risks, often attempting high-difficulty shots that may lower his percentage but increase his threat profile. Understanding these numbers allows us to see the efficiency of the atomic flea versus the flair of the Usadia. As we move forward, we will see how these individual numbers translate into team success and how their roles evolved from being primary finishers to playmakers. Football is not just about the final touch. It's about the vision required to create an opening. This is where both Messi and Neymar separate themselves from traditional strikers. Lionel Messi holds the record for the most assists in football history, demonstrating a spatial awareness that many analysts describe as 3D vision. He calculates passing lanes in real time, often executing passes that bypass 3 or 4 defensive lines. Neymar is equally proficient but uses different mechanics. Neymar uses his gravity, the tendency for defenders to swarm him, to create space for others. When Neymar dribbles, he draws an average of 2.5 defenders toward him, which mathematically leaves at least one teammate unmarked. This is known as defensive gravity. We can quantify their playmaking through key passes and expected assists. The formula for expected assists considers the probability that a particular pass will become an assist based on its location and type. While Messi leads in pure volume, Neymar often leads in shot-creating actions per 90 minutes. This metric captures dribbles, fouls drawn, and passes that lead directly to a shot. Neymar's ability to draw fouls is a tactical weapon. He is consistently one of the most fouled players in Europe, providing his team with high-value set-piece opportunities. In this slide, we focus on the expected assists metric, which shows that even when their teammates miss the shot, the creative value of Messi and Neymar remains elite. Their rivalry isn't just about who is the better scorer, but who makes their team better through vision and unselfishness. As we will see, during their time together at Barcelona, their combined expected assists was the highest of any duo in the world. Dribbling is the most cinematic part of football, and here Messi and Neymar are the world's two greatest exponents, though their techniques are polar opposites. Messi's dribbling is characterized by la pausa and micro-touches. He maintains the ball so close to his left foot that the distance between the ball and his boot is minimized, allowing for instantaneous changes in direction. This is the low center of gravity advantage. Because Messi is shorter, about 1.7 meters, his center of gravity allows him to decelerate and accelerate faster than taller defenders, a principle of physics. Neymar, by contrast, uses samba flair. His dribbling is about deception and rhythm. He uses step-overs, rainbows, and elasticos to manipulate the defender's balance. Neymar's dribbling is mathematically more risky because it involves more time with the ball in the air or away from the body, but it has a higher psychological impact on the opposition. We measure this using successful dribble percentage. While Messi often has a higher success rate, around 60 to 70%, Neymar attempts more progressive carries, which are runs that move the ball at least 10 yards toward the opponent's goal. Neymar's style is designed to humiliate and disrupt, whereas Messi's is designed to bypass. If we look at the dribble success rate formula, which is successful dribbles divided by dribble attempts, we see Messi's efficiency. However, if we look at progression value, Neymar's ability to carry the ball from the midfield to the final third is almost unmatched. Both players use their dribbling to break low blocks, defensive setups where the opponent sits very deep. Without their ability to beat a man 1-versus-1, modern tactical systems would be much harder to break down. This slide celebrates the feet that have danced through the best defenses in the world. From 2014 to 2017, the football world witnessed perhaps the greatest attacking trio in history, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, collectively known as MSN. During this period, the comparison between Messi and Neymar shifted from who is better to how well do they complement each other. Mathematically, the output of MSN was greater than the sum of its parts. This is a classic example of synergy in sports science. In the 2014 to 2015 season alone, the trio scored 122 goals, a European record at the time. The tactical framework was brilliant. Messi occupied the right, Neymar the left, and Suarez the center. This forced the opposition's defense to stretch across the entire width of the pitch. By increasing the distance between the opposition's central defenders, Messi and Neymar created half spaces, the most dangerous areas on a pitch. This period was the peak of their professional relationship. Neymar accepted a secondary role to Messi's leadership, which allowed him to develop his playmaking skills under the tutelage of the master. Their chemistry was telepathic, often finding each other with blind passes. The statistical correlation coefficient of their goal scoring was remarkably high. When one scored, the other was often the provider. We can model their combined impact using a total offensive output formula. The sum of goals plus assists for Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. This era resulted in a historic treble for Barcelona, including the UEFA Champions League. It proved that two superstars of their caliber could coexist and thrive if their roles were mathematically balanced. Neymar's departure in 2017 for a world record fee marked the end of this dynasty, but the data from these 3 years remains the gold standard for attacking efficiency. In 2017, Neymar made the bold decision to leave Barcelona for Paris Saint-Germain in a deal worth €222 million, the most expensive transfer in history. His motivation was clear: to move out of Messi's shadow and win the Ballon d'Or as the undisputed leader of a team. This period allows us to analyze Neymar as a primary engine. At PSG, Neymar's statistics per 90 minutes actually improved in several categories. Without Messi occupying the central creative space, Neymar became the focal point of every attack. His usage rate, a term borrowed from basketball but applicable here, skyrocketed. He was no longer just a winger. He was a number 10, a winger, and a finisher all in one. However, this move also highlighted the durability factor. While Messi has been remarkably consistent in his availability, Neymar suffered several significant injuries during key moments of the season. We can calculate reliability as matches played divided by matches scheduled. Neymar's reliability value at PSG was often below 0.6 due to foot injuries. Despite this, when he was on the pitch, his impact was undeniable. He led PSG to their first ever Champions League final in 2020. This slide examines the transfer value inflation and the pressure of being a world record signing. We compare Neymar's solo stats at PSG against his partnership stats at Barcelona. Did the move achieve its goal? While he became a more complete player, the individual awards remained elusive, largely due to the continued dominance of Messi and the emergence of Kylian Mbappé. This chapter of Neymar's career is a fascinating study in the risks and rewards of seeking individual legacy over established team success. While Neymar was carving his path in France, Lionel Messi continued to defy the laws of aging. The narrative of Messi's career reached its crescendo in 2022 at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. For years, the only criticism against Messi was his lack of a major international trophy with Argentina. This changed in 2021 with the Copa America and culminated in the 2022 World Cup victory. At 35 years old, Messi's physical metrics had changed. He ran less, but his efficiency per meter increased. He utilized scanning, a technique where a player turns their head to collect information. Top players scan about half a time per second. Messi's scanning frequency increases during high-pressure transitions. Mathematically, we can look at his impact per touch. In the 2022 World Cup, almost every touch Messi took moved Argentina into a statistically better position to score. He won the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, scoring in every knockout round. A unique statistical feat. Neymar, meanwhile, faced heartbreak as Brazil was eliminated in the quarterfinals, despite his own brilliant goal in that match. This highlighted the different trajectories of their late careers. Messi's ability to adapt his game, moving from a high-speed dribbler to a deep-lying quarterback, allowed him to remain at the top longer. We use the decay function to model an athlete's performance over time, where the decay constant determines the rate of decline. Messi's decay constant has been incredibly low, meaning his performance has declined much slower than the average elite player. This longevity is what ultimately settled the GOAT debate for many fans and analysts. In a twist of fate, Messi and Neymar were reunited at Paris Saint-Germain in 2021. However, the world they met in was different from the one they left in Barcelona. They were older, the team dynamics were different, and a new superstar, Kylian Mbappé, was the focal point. This second act allows us to study social network analysis within a football team. We can map the pass network to see how often Messi and Neymar looked for each other compared to other teammates. Interestingly, the data showed that the Messi-Neymar connection remained the strongest link in the team. They provided more assists to each other than any other pair in Ligue 1 during their time together. However, the team struggled with tactical balance. Having three players, Messi, Neymar, Mbappé, who contributed less to defensive transitions, created a mathematical deficit in the team's defensive shape. In modern football, the pressing intensity is measured by passes per defensive action, or PPDA. PSG's PPDA was often high, meaning they allowed the opponent more time on the ball because their star forwards saved energy for the attack. This slide examines the trade-off between offensive genius and defensive stability. We will look at the win probability added by the duo. While their individual stats remained world-class, the team's inability to win the Champions League sparked debates about the viability of super teams. This period proved that even the two most talented players in the world need a balanced mathematical structure around them to succeed at the highest level of European competition. It was a beautiful but flawed reunion that emphasized the evolution of the game toward high-intensity pressing. As we approach the conclusion of our comparison, we must look at the impact these two have had off the pitch. Messi and Neymar are more than just athletes. They are global brands and cultural icons. Messi represents the silent genius, a humble figure who speaks through his feet. Neymar represents the modern celebrity, a fashion icon, a gamer, and a social media powerhouse. Their marketability can be measured through social media reach and jersey sales. Neymar's transfer to PSG literally changed the economy of French football, increasing TV rights value. Messi's move to Inter Miami in the US has had a similar Messi effect, where ticket prices increased by over 500%, meaning new prices are 5 times the old prices. From a technical perspective, they have influenced a whole generation of players. Young wingers today try to emulate Neymar's flair, while playmakers study Messi's positioning. We can quantify their legacy through trophy density, the number of trophies won per season played. Messi's density is among the highest in history. Neymar, while having fewer trophies, has a higher cultural impact score in South America, where he is seen as the guardian of the Brazilian football identity. This slide also considers their fair play records. Messi is known for staying on his feet, while Neymar is often criticized for embellishment. However, data shows that Neymar is the most fouled player in the top 5 leagues over the last decade. This foul displacement is a survival mechanism. Ultimately, their legacy is a dual one. Messi as the gold standard of footballing perfection, and Neymar as the ultimate entertainer who brought joy and controversy in equal measure. They have both reached the statistical outlier zone, where their career numbers are so high they sit outside the normal distribution of professional players. To conclude our lesson, is there a definitive answer to who is better? If we use pure statistics, goals, assists, and major trophies, Lionel Messi emerges as the superior player. His consistency and peak performance levels are statistically unprecedented. However, if the question is who changed the way the game is watched, the answer becomes more subjective. Neymar brought a level of showmanship and technical risk that made football a spectacle for a new generation. We have looked at the efficiency metrics such as expected goals, expected assists, and dribble success rate, and the physicality metrics like center of gravity and reliability. We've seen how they functioned as a duo and as individuals. The mathematical truth is that they are two different solutions to the same problem. How to beat a defense? Messi is the optimized solution, the most direct and efficient path to a goal. Neymar is the creative solution, the path that involves the most flair and unpredictability. In the history of football, they will always be linked. Their friendship proved that even at the highest level of competition, mutual respect and collaboration are possible. As they move into the final chapters of their careers, Messi in the US and Neymar in Saudi Arabia, the dataset is nearly complete. We are left with a legacy of over 1,000 goals, hundreds of assists, and a transformation of football into a data-driven yet still magical sport. Thank you for participating in this analytical journey. Whether you prefer the clinical genius of Messi or the rhythmic audacity of Neymar, we can all agree that the era defined by these two has been one of the most exciting in the history of the sport. The numbers tell a story, but the magic they created on the pitch is something that transcends any formula.